to What's Right with the World with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hello, welcome to What's Right with the World. Today we are going to talk about some sort of topic that Ben's going to fill us in on right now.
What's crazy about this is that he knows what the topic, it's not like I don't tell him and we don't talk about it beforehand.
Sometime. Look,
He's never completely blind going into this.
No, not completely. No. I do know I know it. We discuss it ahead of time. But I just lose track. You know how I am.
Yeah. So today's story comes from thehill.com, and it's about a restaurant owner in New York City who says that Anthony Bourdain changed their lives. So he donated all of his profits for one day to the suicide hotline. The owner of a New York City restaurant announced Friday that he would donate 100% of his business's profits for the day to the National Suicide Hotline following the death of famed chef and TV host Anthony Bourdain. Jason Wang, the founder of Xi'an, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, X-I'-A-N, Famous Foods, tweeted that the move was his way of thanking Bourdain for featuring his family's business on an early episode of No Reservations, which Wang says caused the restaurant's popularity to boom overnight. Today is a day of extreme sadness for us here. I've lost a dear friend, and we mourn with the rest of the world. So yeah, and by the way, before we go any further, in honor of his memory and all of those dear people who left us too early, they'll be donating to our stores at 800-273-TALK. So at 800-273-TALK is the suicide prevention hotline phone number, and we're going to put that in the description of this episode. So great gesture on his part, which is nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the reaction to these celebrity suicides that have happened recently, because that's the negative. The negative is the act,
right?
But the positive is
that it's really bringing attention to the problems that we have, and the numbers. Like I've seen people make comments that just over the last few days about the percentages of suicide rates climbing and what they are and stuff. And these are a lot of people that are throwing these out there. I don't think have experienced somebody committing suicide that was real close to them. So the fact that people are being touched and their awareness is being raised by this issue that obviously we need help with. And, I think that that's the biggest asset, because, when first we have to solve any problem, first we have to identify the problem. Then we have to identify what the solution is. Then we have to implement the solution. So, the fact that we're drawing attention that there is a real problem here and that we can start putting more efforts and energy towards the solution is a step in the right direction, So, of course, nobody wants to see anybody commit suicide, let alone somebody famous. But since it is happening, it is raising awareness too, because one of my friends committed suicide recently, and it's this one's getting a hell of a lot more attention than that,
right?
Because he wasn't famous. So the fact that this is grabbing the attention of more people, I think is the biggest benefit. So we can really put more efforts towards that solution.
I've talked a lot about this on the show, I feel like, but when I was the year I graduated high school, my best friend's little sister committed suicide the Christmas night, going into the next morning. So the day after Christmas, the morning after Christmas, they found her, and that family has dedicated their lives to mental health awareness and helping people. And they actually just recently converted their family farm into a like a center for mental health, so that
that's great.
People can come and work and get therapy there, and sort of like a halfway house. I'm not sure if people are staying there or not. I believe that they are, but so I'm a big proponent of mental health awareness and that all year round.
Right.
And it's sad that it takes 2 celebrity deaths in the same week to really draw a large spotlight to this issue. But that's also a positive thing because, you don't get that spotlight without.
Right. And we don't, that's I think an important distinction. It's, we don't want bad things to happen. Nobody wants bad things to happen. Nobody wants suicides to happen or anything else negative. We don't want it. And some people will get hung up on that. They'll be like, well, how can you say it's a good thing? It's like, well, the act isn't a good thing, but it's, can we make any good out of it? What's the alternative? It happened. We can't go back in time and make it not happen. So since that's not an option, then all we have left is how we deal with it. That's it. It's not what happens to us in our lives. It's our reactions to what happens to us that determines where we're going to go moving forward. So it happened, period. We can't go back and change that. So we have 2 choices. We either just let it bring us down, or we try to find a way for it to lift us up. And if we choose to allow it to pull us down and feel bad and just get nothing but negativity out of that, it's going to breed more suicides, because that's what suicide comes from: negativity, hopelessness. That's what breeds it. So when a bad thing happens, if that's the only thing that we do. And of course, it can be grieving times and things like that. I'm not saying that we can't take our time to work through this stuff. What I'm saying is we have to look for the positive, and because it's the only way to help this stuff happen less. So, I think that's the biggest distinction. Is not, just because we're looking for the positive doesn't mean we don't understand that it sucks.
Definitely.
Of course we understand that, and we don't want it to happen. But since it did, what are we going to do now moving forward? And that is bringing awareness to the issue that made this happen. And, the more awareness and the more effort we can put towards the solution, the better.
Very well said. So as I said, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available 24/7, free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you or your loved ones, and the best practices and professionals. The number is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. And they have a special announcement. You can hashtag be the one to help someone in a crisis. You don't have to be a mental health professional to help someone in your life that may be struggling. Learn the Lifeline's 5 steps that you can use to help a loved one that may be in a crisis. Check that out on the suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
So did you just say there was a hashtag somewhere?
There is a hashtag, yeah. The hashtag is hashtag be the number one to help. Be the one to help is the hashtag. So
be the one to help.
Yeah.
And the one is the number one.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So use that. Go on there. If you check on people, check in with people.
Yeah, that are going through tough times. You know, just check in, and a lot of times, that can be very helpful. It's not. We don't have to run around solving everybody's problem. That's what I do as a life coach sometimes. But that's when people are seeking out life coaches. But the rest of us, we don't. In other situations, I have friends going through tough times, and I'm not their life coach. and I don't try to life coach them, but I can make a phone call and say, hey, how you doing? Just thinking about you. Shoot a text every once in a while. Just so if they are feeling crappy one time, that line of communication is open and the phone doesn't feel so heavy to pick up for them. So just stay in touch with people, reach out, let them know you're there, and that's really the best thing that we can do for people. So do what you can when you can, and we'll keep working towards a solution.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk with you soon.
Glenn is available for life coaching sessions, in person or via phone and Skype. To book an appointment or for more information, go to glennambrose.com, follow him on Facebook and Twitter, or click the link in the description of this episode.